Welcome back to this forewarned storm team special presentation. You know, southern Oklahoma is, of course, home to a lot of friendly folks and some of the state's best leisure spots, but it's also no stranger to dangerous, severe weather. Meteorologist Aaron Brackett explains why one Bryan County city wants to give its citizens
All right, we're going to call it 3:08. We'll call to order regular scheduled meeting of the Durant Community Facilities Authority, and we'll have the clerk call the roll.
Trustee Baxter.
Here.
Trustee Blackburn.
Here.
Trustee Briscoe.
Here.
Trustee Dillard is absent. Trustee Grover.
Here.
Trustee Miller.
Here.
Trustee Morris.
Here.
Vice Chairman Pierce is absent. Chairman Webb.
Here. Outstanding. Also, second or third order of business, but we'll welcome to the authority our new member, Tim Briscoe. Appreciate your service, sir.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Look at consent items. First item there is the consideration of approval of regular meeting minutes of March 1st, 2022. Give you a second to look if you need to, and then entertain a motion.
The no's can actually be one motion for both items.
Okay, all right, so both consent items, one meeting on March 1st, 2022, consideration of the approval of the special call meeting minutes of May 18, 2022.
I have a motion to approve the consent items.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second? And then they'll pop up the vote. There you go.
Mark,
Yes.
would you mind explaining to Tim what the consent item, how that works and what they are and how we do it?
Yeah, just first, I don't know if there typically are other items in consent other than our minutes that we
Yeah,
typically see.
On a regular meeting, we may have 10 or 20, and they're trivial items that really
Right.
don't concern us that
Yeah.
much, and we just approve the whole
Right.
batch and go down the road.
The consent agenda is for items that appear regularly on the agenda that have been presented to you in the past, that are routine, that you don't expect to have any controversy over. It's a way of just not getting bogged down as you go through the meeting, so it makes things more efficient, I think, wouldn't you say,
Yeah.
Mike?
Yes.
There, okay.
We have no items removed from consent, so we'll move to our information items. Financial report as of June and July of 2022. Our accountant is not with us. She's in Taiwan, you said? Yes? And so you have that before you for any questions or comments. I did make, if I'd had a highlighter, I would have highlighted it, but did make a circle back on about page 4, our sales tax history report. July and August change over prior fiscal was 4.5% and a little over 7.5% increase from the prior fiscal year, which is always nice. Give you a second to check those if you have questions or comments. We do view those as just information items, so unless there are questions or comments, we'll move on.
My only comment is I'm very glad to see that.
Certainly, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and not just a little bit. Those are significant increases over previous fiscal year. Yes, sir. We do not have a report on the Ron Cross Senior Activity Center renovation project, although I've driven by, I've seen activity. I've not walked in since the opening. But anyway, all right, no report there. Arena Convocation Center and activity update, Coach.
We had our summer commencement, which we had right at 200 graduates. Took place at the end of July, 1st of August. Then we had the Bryan County Teachers Meeting this past Friday, and all of the teachers of Bryan County, including Durant Public Schools, were there. I don't know how many attended. Do you, off the top of your head?
Oh, how many do I think were there?
Dwayne,
I mean,
yeah, Dwayne estimated 650, but I don't think there were 650. There's
it
probably
was-
400 or
I was
500.
just gonna say that I wasn't thinking of that.
But the Pride of Durant came in and played band, so that was a good thing. We've got a concert that we normally host coming up in September. Saw You at the Pole will be, I believe, September 23rd, I believe is the date. And that's all for this time.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Questions? All right, sir. You got the floor. Parks and Durant Multi-Sports Complex project updates. Nothing happened this summer, I'm sure.
Yeah. So the ditch down Brookside is done. They were starting to work on the ditch that is between Brookside and those basketball courts, but talking to the street department, he doesn't really see that it's necessary. It's already going down that way. It's not washing anything out, so we're just going to, instead of making a mess, we're just going to leave it be and go from there. Parking lots, repaving, we have resurfaced the majority of the pool parking lot. We still have a little bit left that the street department's supposed to come in after they finish some projects and finish it out, and then we'll finish striping and be done with the pool parking lot. And then after that, I'm working on, once I get another quote, I've received quotes for the new LED lights to go around the pool. This is what James Dalton did before I came here. Well, we're looking at around $50,000 for lights, and these are solar panel lights that will light up. We'll have 7 lights at the pool parking lot and then 5 around the walking trail. So, and they're solar, LED. If no one's around the park, it's at 20% brightness, but once it has a motion detector and it goes off, it goes up to 100%. You can see up to 50 feet go well, so we should have just enough room to have all 5 of those, and they'd be able to correspond with one another. So that's our cheapest quote. That's probably what I'm going to go with, because if we do wired lighting, that skyrockets to pretty much double just to get the wire in. Sports complex. So since I started, you guys have been wanting shade structures at there, and I've been trying just to get quotes, because that's been the toughest part. Roughly what we're looking at, we're gonna need 10 shade structures altogether. 6 are 14 by 25, and then 2 at the softball are massive. I'm not listening to, they're just big shade structures. The big ones are gonna be about 50,000 a piece, and then the smaller ones are about 6,000. So I have money to do 2, so I'm going to do 2 and get softball, their 2 stands done, and then I'll put in a request for essentially more money to get the rest of the fields. And when I say 10 structures, I'm also including Colton's field, where it has the soccer stands. There's 2 over there. Go ahead and get them shade structure as well. The rest, they don't have enough. I don't have enough space to really put shade structure for permanent field, so we're just going to leave it as is. Bring a chair to watch soccer games, but since our bigger kids play on that big field, so we'll put shade structures on them, hopefully. Concession stand, it's all done. We have been issued a temporary license. I'm waiting for the health department to actually mail me my license. This was about a month ago, and they can't seem to find my check. Even though they deposited, they can't find it. So I am trying to track down people at the State Department to say, hey, I need this license. But we're good there. With doing that, though, we cannot serve concession at soccer. It's against health code to have selling items out of that little shack. So I'm just saying no, which we're missing out on maybe $300 of revenue there. I'm 90% sure 20% was me. So I'm not really terribly upset about it. But so we're good on that. LED lights for the parking lot. We have some of that roadway has LED lights, and then the big parking lot doesn't. I've gotten quotes to replace the heads of the lights that already exist, and then adding in a couple more lights. We're looking at $51,000 to $60,000 to do those. The parking lot, we approved of it this year, I believe, to resurface the entire parking lot at the sports complex. I have talked to the street department. They are going to start work on that as soon as all the leagues are done. So we'll probably December is when we're going to start work on that and get that going. And then we're getting actual storage bins so we don't have piles of dirt in the parking lot. We actually have bins to help so they don't get contaminated and all that, and have ball field sand or ball field dirt and clay on ready. So whenever we need to refill anything on the field, we have it instead of storing it in places. Dixon Durant, once I get Carl Albert done, that's where I'm going to shift my focus to Dixon Durant. When I had Palco do the quotes for Carl Albert, I already had them just figure out a quote for Dixon Durant. We're looking at $20,000 because it's going to be all solar. We're not going to do wiring. The poles are already up. I'm just putting LED lights on those poles to shine onto the park and not towards the street. So we should be good there. And then pavilions, I haven't even started looking at quotes, but I know the southernmost pavilion will have to be pretty much demolished and then re-pour the foundation because the foundation's really cracked and all that. So we're going to have to redo the whole thing. The other one, the pad's in good shape. We just got to put an actual pavilion on top of it. But I think that's all my stuff. Any questions?
What about fall youth?
Oh.
Fall youth sports. How has that
Totally forgot
shaken
about
up?
that. So we just unveiled our Civic Rec website so people can actually reserve fields online without having to come up to City Hall and do all that business.
Good.
We had 3 transactions through it so far, and that we unleashed it last week. So it's going to be a while before everyone starts realizing they can do it. But baseball will have, or flag football will have 20-something teams, I believe. Baseball, they haven't given me a number yet, but it's big. And they're going to move the T-ball back to Lloyd Plyler so they can focus all baseball and softball and have them pretty much every day of the week. Last year, we had quite a good turnout on rec leagues for our different organizations. So, and then football will start up here pretty quick. We had the rugby tournament a couple of months ago, pretty much right in the middle. It was July 20th, around there. I don't know how many actually showed up, but from what I've already talked to the guy that runs them, we're already booking more. He's said that our fields are the best fields that they've played on in the nation, so they're going to start making where all the Dallas or central region of rugby is played here. It does help that apparently Dallas's rugby fields, a bald eagle made a nest in the fields, so they can't use those fields anymore. So they're having to relocate. So we're going to take full advantage and try to get that in. I think he said April, the end of April will be a big conference kind of deal that will have 480 players, and not long. I don't know how many families will come, but.
Are they using the soccer fields?
Those soccer fields with our new turf tank robot that paints the fields, we're able to just say, okay, instead of painting soccer, paint rugby, and it already has everything squared away, and he just goes out and does it in like 30 minutes.
That's pretty cool.
I have a question on that. Okay, so for the soccer, they still rent out the fields, correct, every time that they practice? How does that work?
So
Because I saw a lot of teams there.
Yes. No. How it's been done is with rec leagues, they pay $10 per kid to play. The rec league pays us, but the rec league also doesn't do anything with practices. They say, coaches, you figure it out on your own. Well, coaches aren't going to go in and pay $15-$30 for a practice field, so they just show up. With this website, they can book it, but I have talked to the rec leagues. if they give me certain days, I'll block off those days for teams to practice, so they have their designated spots. With baseball and softball, it's just gonna be games out there. Practices, since we have enough fields in the city, practice will be all there. Soccer, on the other hand, it's pretty much just that complex. So I'm not gonna shut them out from practices because they have to have somewhere to play with goals, because none of our other parks have goals.
Right, right. Will that parking lot be resurfaced? Is that one you're
Yes.
talking about? And I guess, I mean, it's really not, I was just curious. It's not like terrible, so I didn't know if
So
there was reasoning on.
the reasoning from what I gathered is when ice storm came through and we put a bunch of salt on there, we ruined the integrity of it, so it's going to deteriorate a lot faster. So we're going with trying to resurface it now to get it back in proper shape before this fund runs out. That's how my understanding of it. It's just been what I've been told. I'm with you. It's in decent shape. I have worse parking lots at different parks.
Right.
But this is, since this facility is going to be where we're trying to get people there every week, we need to have the parking lots in better shape.
Perfect. So now go back to the rugby. They're going to be playing on the soccer fields, correct? Do
Yes,
they
ma'am.
play evening games? Is that something that
It'll be
projected
like
in?
2 or 3 tournaments a year. They're not practicing, they're not doing league games. It's just 2 or 3 tournaments a year that will happen.
Okay, so lighting in the future, is that something that?
I would like to see lighting out
Okay,
there
that was
because, and we'll have to, with that shape of the soccer complex, you have to, for lighting for the big areas, you would have to have them all on that south border and north border to fill up the entire thing. We can't do lighting for different soccer fields because then we can still have enough room for if rugby, lacrosse
Right.
have their tournaments, we have lighting for it. But yet if soccer wants to do a soccer tournament for little kids, we can have lights for it just as well, but we'll light a lot more of their area, if that makes sense. That's my plan. If Parks
Perfect.
Board is still voting on what is going to happen.
No, I think it sounds great. I was just curious on the future outlook of that area.
Yeah.
If that's especially, if we're going to be adding rugby to the area, that would be.
And like
be
in
more
that area, we
attraction.
also need to put a concession stand bathroom where the concession stand was, because with the health code, we can't sell stuff out of there. So I'm giving it back to soccer as a storage building for their stuff because they are the ones that bought it. I'm not going to say, no, it's going to be our storage now. It's, you guys have it. You have the key to it. We'll just make sure we'll do our best to make sure no one breaks in there. And
Has it always been a fact that you can't sell concessions out of the concession stand at the ballpark?
when I started, I was under the assumption that we could sell like packaged goods out of all of our concession stands. After talking with the health department, that was not the case. We weren't supposed to sell anything out of any concession stand until we got this
Why
health
would you
code
have a
license.
concession stand? Everybody's got them. I don't get it.
So apparently, according to health code, every city or entity is supposed to have a license for their concession stands if you're going to have continuous sell. And since we're the people running the concession stands, we had to hold the license. What I honestly would like to see, since I can't keep concession stand workers, is us try to work out a lease agreement with different organizations, and they can run the concession stand and they buy their own products and they give us so much money, so much dollars a month or a percentage, however we want to do it, because that's what I did in Perkins.
Right,
And because I was the only one in the Perkins Parks and Rec department, I'm not running a concession stand for ball games every night of the week and never be home. So I let the local basketball team run their own concession. They kept majority of the profit. We got 20%. I will be real honest, there was no way for me to know if that's actually 20% or if they're just saying, okay, here's some money. So I say we do a monthly, if you're going to redo the concession stand for this month, it's going to cost this much money. That's my input.
Flat rate kind of thing.
I got to make sure it's going to be up to city code that we can do it. So that's my current project.
You're the only one in front of us, so you get all the questions.
I know, that's
So
fine.
here's another.
That's fine.
Great experience this summer. My grandson played t-ball, and my kids they're far past Little League now, but we played OK Kids and we played USSSA. We played Little League, I think, one summer. What is the process by which someone can get a league with us? And no complaint. I'm just curious because I didn't recognize the group, although it was a good experience.
It's Bryan County Sports now.
One more time, I'm sorry.
It's Bryan County Sports.
Okay, yes.
Ran by Brad Dollar. It's a sister or a child organization of PAC Sports.
Okay.
So
PAC Sports, that's what I recall.
OK
yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
is an Oklahoma Little League deal, and that was the other branch that did the city ones. They disbanded last fall. That was our last season. So now it's Bryan County Sports taking over the whole thing, which I like it because I only have one group that I had to contact for baseball, and now he's also running softball, and he's also running flag football as well. So yeah, so it makes my life a whole lot easier because I can say, okay, Brad, where I need payment for flag football, whatever, and he can do it that way. But how it works is you have to have a license with the main organization, and if we get established and we put in a bid, we can actually have state tournaments here.
Yeah.
So but it has to be affiliated with the league, so we can't do OK Kids anymore because we don't have an OK Kids league here in town or nearby. So it has to be through Bryan County Sports, through PAC Sports, and we can have possibly there, but Brad has to be the one in charge and really take it forward. We can put in the bid, but he has to be the one to organize it.
Well, we were always on time, and the umpires were there, so we were okay with it.
He's a lot more organized than some of my other leagues.
All right. Any other questions while we've got him here? It's like rapid fire.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much.
No problem.
Appreciate what you're doing. Well, that's A, B, C, and D. Anything under administrative, anything under new business, there's nothing there. I would like to say if you do have new business, was my phone call this past week. Cynthia and I played phone tag several times, but anything on your mind or anything that, in the past that we've kind of thrown around at the end of meetings, we can make those agenda items and have discussions or whatever if you'd like. So keep that in mind. Any other word? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. Be the easiest vote of the day.
This sounds crazy. When I was in junior high, which was obviously eons ago,
It doesn't get a whole lot spicier than this, but there always is good information
You
about
remember the old
our
talking
city sales
points
tax
that
revenue.
this was a
one of our
version prior
projects
to
was
that.
for
People were
university,
putting it on their
and then what we're
cafetoriums
doing at our complex and
so they could
sports
have,
venues. So anyway,
like a junior high
I'm always,
gym